coming over here to the bog field. It's the first time we put slurry on this field in a long time. And I mean a long time. The dribble bar has never been in on it, because it was always an awkward little field access. So we just never bothered with slurry. We just always used the fertiliser with a bit of P and K in it instead. But we were able to go in today with some slurry. Now it's not a lovely day. It's been quite wet yesterday. It's continuing here today. It's like a fog nearly. But regards ground and that, there's nearly no standing water on the ground or whatever. It's just a constant dampness. But I want to get in here and get a tank or two on this field. Now that I have a gate at the road reopened, it's not going to be straightforward. I have to reverse this field. I'll explain so in a wee while. Get this gate opened. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse in here, because when I come over this road, and I think I get turned out but not in, because you're kind of coming up at an awkward angle there, and the way the road kind of does this kind of throws you in towards the hedge. If I could get a wider turn in, yes, I'd get in, but I can't get that the way the road is shaped. I could have faced this gap kind of slightly this way, and then I could drive straight in, no problem at all. But I don't really need to. It's handy the way it is, and I can take slurry from the other tank, and I can slurry this field when I'm coming from the other farm, which means that I can drive straight in and straight out. So this is something when you do the odd time. 2 tanks will do this entire field, and I'm not the worst at reversing, so I don't mind it. 2 years ago, you would have not come into this field with a tank. You might have done a wee bit over there along the crown, where it's a bit kind of dry along there. But here you would not drive. It was always a real wet spot. So the shore that we put in, a drain that we put in the whole way along the top of that, or back of that hedge I should say, the whole way over to that tree, it's catching all that water is coming from the hill above, which is about 6 foot higher than this field. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to continue that electric fence that's there over at the gate the whole way over along the head of this field, because that is an open shore. It's filled with stones to the top, and I don't want cattle standing at the back of the hedge tramping that on top of that stone, because they can compact it down. It's not that an awful lot of water comes down from the field on the surface, it's more underneath, which is catching, but at the same time I don't want them standing on top of it. So I will put an electric fence just over there, just out from the hedge, to keep them from standing on top of that. There we go with slurry, and we're not going to put very much on. And it's fairly watery slurry as well, so we're just dead on there. We don't go too close to the boundary area. We just want to keep out from it. Well, that is that field entirely done. It might be a wee bit clatty where the wheels were, but there's no damage done to the ground. And that's the first time we've been fit to ever slurry this field over there. Never been fit to go over there before. It's just nice fit to come in with ease without any problems. So to me, it was worth the time and effort that was put into this to get it into kind of some middling shape. Because it's a nice wee bit of ground now that we can work on. Well, I'm over here now today to fix a wee problem we had yesterday. Now my cows are just, you can see them there, they're just over the hedge on the other side. And I know as soon as I start doing this, there'll be a couple of roars, and I know the ones that are roaring. With 2 heifers, they're absolute villains. Now yesterday, we got ourselves into a bit of a handling with one of them in particular, and she caused a hell of a disruption with the rest of the cows. She's done it before on many occasions. Yesterday was just her at her worst. But you'll see a fence down there, kind of strip grazing. The cows were up here yesterday, and normally what I'd do is As soon as I let the cows out in the morning, I'll go over and look for the cattle to their farm, get them all sorted, calves and cattle, and then come back. And maybe before breakfast, I'll move the fence for tonight. Have a fence ready that's ready for the night afterwards. Yesterday was a bit different because yesterday we're finishing off this field here. And I had a couple of projects I wanted to work on yesterday. So to save time, I said it'd be a great idea to move that fence down there, have it moved for that night, and to also set up a new fence, which I took down off here the night before, if you get me, because this was the last grazing in here. And I was able to put the fence up for the next day and have it up as well, and that would get me kind of ahead of time and mean that even I just had to bring in the cows, milk, let them back out again, fences were all put up. The issue with that is if you don't do it early in the morning while they're up here grazing and wait till I did around dinner time, lunchtime, and do it, that can disturb them. They think you're letting them into a new fresh bit of grass. And that's exactly what happened. I was getting on well until one of the heifers that were way up on the top of that hill yesterday, she spotted me. And she took a notion of galloping right down that steep hill, right down here, as hard as she could go. That raised the alarm for the rest of the cows, and they followed suit, so every animal galloped down while I was putting up the last fence. She came down here and she busted through this wire, and she went down into this lower field here, which was ready for a couple of days later. So I got her back out over the lane. The problem then was the cows were all going mental, roaring, so I had to get her back into the field without the rest of them coming charging out when I opened the gate. I got that done, got the gate closed, thought the handling was over, but nope. One of the other cows had spotted the hole that she made, and she decided she'd go for it as well, so she went underneath that barbed wire that's there, and she went into the field as well. So they were going in here as quick as I was putting them back in the other side. The whole thing was starting to look like a wee bit of a circus, but the girls came over then and we got them back under control. And I put this temporary wire up yesterday just to finish off this field. There was no electric or anything in it, but just to get this field so we can get them out of here. So we're going to have to fix this hole. You can see the barbed wire, it might look high, but in actual fact what they've did was they've dug a hole here from the far side and they've widened it. They've took the hedge out of it in the bottom just by itching their heads, and they've made a hole under the wire. Right, look in here and see where can I anchor some wire to. I'm trying to just push back nettles here, and the more you push them back, the more they want to wrap themselves around you. Alright, not an easy place to get in at, but I have it wired. There's a top row there too, you just can't see it with the bushes, but I put a one down low for the other side so they can't put their head in any longer and dig any more of this, because that's what's causing the whole bother. I'll get a couple of boxes of soil and bits and pieces at home, and I'll put soil back down in there and build that hole back up again, and I'll drive a post, heavy post, right down there in the centre the next time I have the post driver on. But for now it's fixed as good as I can fix it, and that'll keep them, well, hopefully in the right field. Got loads of cars in this road this morning. Someone by there, whoever that is in the white Audi, by the way, a young kid was waving out, I think with her dad. Was it dad? Mum. I didn't see you, sorry, wherever you were. Driving back now, but there's a car behind me at the minute, so this road's normally quiet, so there must be a football match or something on this morning. But anyway, we're tipping over here. The area that we slurried in the last clip, well, that was just over 2 weeks ago, and you'll see how much the grass has actually grown since that. It's amazing. We've had a nice little burst of, well, not say burst of growth, but grass is growing again, and that's something it hasn't done in quite a while, so it's nice to see it starting to make a bit of a comeback. So I've got the Fox here with me on the front. The girls are just after going in front of me on their bicycles, where they can get the calves out of the fields themselves. They think they can do it, so they can try to outsmart the calves, get them out of the field into the crush while I set up the field for them, and it'd be interesting to see how that goes. I'm going to get one of them to open the gate for me. I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to sit here, myself and Nicole, and we're just going to let them do the work. And Sophia. it down here without breaking any posts, knocking any throats off. Right, so we're back in this field and it's been about 2 weeks, as I said, but look at the way it grew, and it didn't get any fertiliser. This is just pure slurry, and it did get fertiliser back a few weeks ago, and it's probably a wee bit of that still in it, but at the same time a lot of this would be down to just the slurry. It's just ideal for calves there now. Lovely sweet grass. So what we're going to do here, Nicole's bringing over the battery fence. We're going to hook the battery fence down there as you've seen us do before, and I'm going to get a battery just sitting up here on the tractor. So I'm going to back then up, fill my meal bin and bring it down and leave it just on the upper side of that gate. I'm going to race home then and get the quad, and while I'm doing that the girls are going to attempt to get the calves out, which should be fun to see can they manage that one on their own. I'm sure they can, and you have to kind of outsmart them because they don't like coming out of a field. They know something's up. If you do it a certain way, which I'm not going to tell them, they've seen me doing it before, I'm just going to let them at it to do themselves and see how they get on. Yeah, that's the issue with this. Very hard to get it out of the bottom of this bin. So that's obviously stuffed. I'll have to stick something up there now and try to get it moving. Oh, that's not good. Just damp me on the bottom of that. I don't know where that dampness is getting in, but it's definitely getting in. It could be just condensation, I don't know, but it makes it a real pain to get the mail out of the bottom of the bin. Now, come on now. If I was doing it again, I would have put some different sort of mechanism on this, maybe an opening here or something. Just design it slightly different. You kind of live and learn, but I probably would have went for the taller bin if I was doing it again, and enclosed front the whole way around it. And that way you can put this tipsy bin on there, or any kind of bin underneath, and be able to use that more often, because now you can see, only because this tips, there's not a mission, I'd get another bin underneath it. Now the crack is, can I get it out? Because I have to come in now with the forks, hopefully pick it up and then tilt it forward and try to pull it out. Now there's a bit of weight on it, mightn't just be as easy as you imagine. You can see also it's quite tight on both sides, so there's only a quarter of an inch, half an inch on either side to play with. But anyway, you, my big snotty friend, you go way over there. You're knocking into that mail. Actually looking at it there and it's pulling out, and all I'd have to do with that is to put an extended set of legs in it. Just change these legs or on it out, or maybe even bolt them further up. I don't know how it's done, but I definitely know I could raise that, and even if it was up another 12 inches, 2 foot of the ground, that would make a hell of a difference when feeding it out of this here. Haha! Well done! Alright, well that's them in there now. They'll munch away their way, run over to the far side, so we're not going to tail after them. We just tested our electric fence, that's all working. Job done, let's go do something else. So here's something I would never normally film. At least 2-3 evenings a week I'll work away till about 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock some evenings. The weather allows, I get some maintenance done, some tidying up done, and just going around gardens. I'd be cutting grass, I'd be trimming back weeds, things like that. Just stuff that's not actually directly farm related, if that makes sense. So yeah, more cosmetic. That's probably the word I'm looking for. So here's an area here. This is my dumping ground here that gets hidden and no one can see it. Only you guys now. There's some stuff there I need to actually throw out, but I always come sourcing in here when I need a piece of steel or need something to make a repair. It's a great wee spot to have. But another thing I normally do is I'll have this whole area sprayed. All across there be sprayed too, just to kill off any of this. It's just a waste area. But at the minute I haven't got near it in a while, and it's kind of got out of hand now. It's gone past spraying, or just be a big yellow mess. So the stuff is nearly 5 foot tall. This fence here that runs up, you can see even the pass here goes up to a slab house. The stuff is coming in now on top of it. It's amazing the way nature can grab a hold of things when you let it. But the girls are coming in tomorrow to put a stain on this fence. We put a stain on it every 2 years just to keep it preserved. So I don't want them having to tramp through this, so I just said this evening, I'm going to knock this back. Right, so probably a big red mark across my forehead. I didn't fall, that's just from the iron mask you wear. But yeah, that's that bit done there now. It looks an awful lot better. That took about 40 minutes to get that all done. But it's not something you have to do every day. And at least now it's not high sky or 5 foot high of a red shank and all sorts of stuff. The girls will be fit to come in here now and paint that fence, and we're fit to start our power washing, which starts now probably in the next week or so, and get all the sheds kind of ready for winter, which, believe it or not, isn't that far away. But there's a lot of work to be done between now and then, but at least that's another little job ticked off the list. Sinead will do a lot of this as well. She does help me out, and the girls are great as well. But they're football this evening, and they don't be here every evening, and I don't mind. I actually enjoy rooting away at this here. Now that I am here, some people do ask what drone and stuff do I use. I can show you now real quick, actually, because it's in front of me. Well, this is my main drone, and no, there's not a leg broke. I'm just in the middle of putting it away. This is an Air 3. The most handy one that I use is a Mini 4 Pro. That's the one you would see most of my videos filmed with. This one here is good when there's a wind. The Mini 4 Pro suffers a lot with wind because it's so small. It'll fit in the palm of your hand. It's just tiny. That's why it's handy for me to bring it with me on the tractor. This you can't really, you can, but it's an awful lot bigger. It's about easily twice the size, but it has the power to be able to withstand the wind, and the wind doesn't affect it. So there is a little cover you can get. I got it on Amazon. It's just a cover shield, and it wraps right around the controller. It protects the screen, and it also does away with glare. So you can fly away like that there, and there's no glare on the screen, just if you're into that kind of stuff. Just something you can look out for. They're very cheap as well. And these are the cameras that I film all my stuff on. It's the same camera as you're looking through on this one. I always have 2 cameras so I can film stuff at different angles. And that's an Action 4. This is an Action 4 as well. I changed away from GoPros because I was losing far too much footage. They were freezing all the time, and thankfully these seem to be much better. Never have any issues as of yet. I might do a video eventually of actual behind the scenes and how I set up my videos and how I edit my videos, stuff like that. You can comment down below if it's something you'd be interested in. Just as I'm packing up here, there's someone calling me behind the hedge. And my daughter Saoirse is calling me here. She's only 2, but she's calling me for tea, so I'll leave it at that.